Alrighty, well, hello there, everyone. It's Mazske Finance coming to you again. And peek over there, it is Friday, January the 28th, the year 2022. And it's been a busy morning, but I've been looking forward to right now because I have a very special guest with me. And I'll introduce, well, the young man will introduce himself, but Darius, why don't you go ahead and say hi to everyone?
Hey.
All right, welcome to the channel, Darius. I'm glad you're here. We can talk about a few things, but let's get started, I guess, with if you can just tell the audience, who is Darius? Just kind of tell us about yourself.
So I grew up like in the suburbs of Seattle. I got my real estate license when I was like 22. And it proved itself to be hard to break into it. And I always wanted to buy real estate once I was like a kid, but just like looking at the Seattle home prices, I just didn't know what the options were for me, unless I was like get married and have two incomes. So I was always confused. So I always wanted to get real estate. And yeah, I graduated college like a year back, got a job at like working security. So that's kind of where I'm at today.
Okay. So when you went to college, did you get a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree?
4-year degree. I studied law and justice. I grew up wanting to be a police officer. That's kind of how I ran across Mike a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. So, and you know, I'm a retired police officer.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So are you still considering getting into that line of work, or do you think real estate will be enough? You'll just continue in that field and not worry about law enforcement?
I'm not like as eager to do it as I was when I graduated, just because of all the nonsense that's going on right now, if that makes sense. But I think I'm still open to the idea. But when I was like a kid, I always wanted to do that job, but it's not the same today because I have a pretty decent job and it pays me pretty well and stuff. So yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna throw something out here real quick, and then we'll move into talking about your real estate future.
Yeah.
But if you've watched the videos on my channel, I've had, I think, 3 videos so far with folks who are in the military. You know, we had Bill, we had Tyler, we had Caleb, and then myself. I was former Navy and I retired from the Navy Reserves. My 2 sons are both in the Coast Guard, both officers in the Coast Guard. And I talk to a lot of young people about this. And I always recommend something to consider is, and I'll ask you this, have you ever considered a branch of the military?
No. No. The only reason I would do it would be for that VA loan, but I don't think that's worth it, in my opinion. I don't know. I never considered it, no.
Okay. I'll throw one thing out and then we'll move on. But you got Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. I always tell folks, unless they're diehard Army or Marines, don't join Army or Marines because that's like combat, fighting.
Yeah.
Air Force can be kind of cushy. Navy can be hit or miss. Coast Guard, my boys are in the Coast Guard. They get out and see the world. And they've been everywhere, across the sea to China, North Pole, South Pole, Hawaii, Indonesia, Fiji, all these places. In your situation, you have a 4-year degree. If you wanted to go that route, you could potentially go to OCS, which is Officer Candidate School, become a commissioned officer, make really good money, do your obligated 5 years of service, get a good paycheck, keep buying rental property, separate at 5 years. And if you're not financially independent, you could be really close to being financially independent.
I didn't know that. Yeah, that's new news.
Yeah, we can always talk more about that when we're not on, being recorded.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, you are in the process of buying your first rental house, correct?
Closes on the 31st of this month.
That's like Monday.
Yeah, that's Monday. Yeah.
It's very soon. And where are you buying this house at?
Gary, Indiana.
Okay. What got you interested in Gary, Indiana?
Cash flowing real estate at the price point.
Okay.
That's for the most part.
Tell us a little bit about the house you're getting, like purchase price, and what is the house? Like 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms?
I would say it's like basically like a perfect starter home for like a new couple. So it's 2-1. It's newly renovated. So the walls inside are gray. The floor is that vinyl gray stuff. New roof. Brick house, which I just think it's like aesthetically pleasing. It's pretty nice. And it's just like a newly remodeled house. Pretty simple. It's like built in 48. 800 square feet, like I said, no garage or anything like that, but just like a simple starter house for somebody.
It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. What's the purchase price?
67 and a half. Got appraised last week for 70. No, this week 74.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
Good. And have you talked to any property managers? Like, do you know what the prospective rent is for it?
They said like 850. He might be able to push for a little bit more. I talked to the Adrian guy, which is like the boss of Mackenzie, I believe. That's who Mike suggested. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I've never spoken with him. I use Kurt and Vicky up there.
Okay.
And there's somebody you can always consider too. They charge 8%. I think Adrian charged 10 or 11%.
Yeah.
But it's personal preference, go with whoever you're comfortable with going with.
Yeah.
So, well, good. And how did you find that house? Was it like through a turnkey company, off the MLS, through a contact, or?
MLS, and then I just like looked at it, asked Mike about it. Then Mackenzie went to go look at it, and then I was basically smooth sailing from there.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. And you said you're working now as a security guard?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Are you making like $50 or $100 an hour?
$22.50 is what I make.
And did you come from a rich family? Like, how is Darius, who's just a security guard, buying a rental house?
I just like save up every penny I get. Like, I still live with my parents, and a lot of my my siblings, like they moved out, got chargers and stuff like that. But like I was always like, that's not my move. I always wanted to like get into real estate because I feel like my real estate could pay for the charger when I'm 35. If that makes sense. So I didn't like people like sometimes like my sister-in-law was giving me a hard time like a week back, but I was like, I'm just gonna keep on buying these houses. And she was like, yeah, that's kind of just the way I go about it. My parents are like really nice and stuff. They don't really care. So that's kind of the reason I don't really move out. Yeah.
Right. That's outstanding, I think, because then you get, because as I know, I've moved away from my parents. My mom died when I was like 31 or 32, so I lost her. Yeah. But the more time you can spend with your parents, to me, is a plus, because the day will come when you will move out, or they get older, one passes away, so it's a plus. So, and something I've always done, not that I've always done this, I've done it more recently, is if I start getting eyes where I want to buy something, be it that charger, that Tesla, or to buy a boat or whatever, I try to figure out, all right, one of two things. Can I pay cash for it? Mm-hmm. And if I can't pay cash, what asset can I buy that will give me positive cash flow that will pay that monthly bill for that asset?
Yep.
Meaning, do I buy a rental house that could make my monthly car payment, or
or a duplex or something like that? Yeah.
Right. So, and then it's also, I've learned over the years, I've always been frugal, but I've learned, when I was in the Navy, I was an E5, and I see E3 guys who would go out and buy the latest and greatest sports car. Yeah. And I was standing duty at the front gate one day, and a tow truck comes in, and I stop them, I ID them, and I was like, "Where are you going?" And they tell me, I was like, I just kind of laughed to myself, but it's like that young guy with that sports car obviously didn't pay his bill because it was getting repossessed.
That's what Mike was telling me. He's on the SWAT unit, and there was a time like recently he had to like go to like a call, and you have to drop what you're doing. You have to go there, And right. Mike has this old car. I think it's from like 1991. It's a nice car, but it's like old. We're talking like very old, and like he drives that thing around everywhere, like Seattle, Tacoma. Like he's driving this old car around, and like he said he pulled up to like with all his SWAT guys. Everybody has Porsches and Teslas, and then he parked his car, and I just like every time I see that car, I'm just confused because like I know what he's doing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like an old car. You won't believe it. It's like, I think it's like a Geo Metro. You know what that is? And Mike is like 6'2", 200 pounds, like driving around that manual Geo Metro. I'm just like, oh my goodness. Every time I see that vehicle.
Oh man, that's pretty good. I'm glad you shared that, because I'll tell you a quick story. Back when I was a police officer, I had probably been a cop for 10 years. So it would have been, I'll guess, around the year 2009, 2010. And I was driving a 1987 Oldsmobile Cutlass Sierra. It was a big old, like a little box car.
87.
87.
Oh my goodness.
1987, right. And I had a supervisor came up to me one day and he was like, Mazske, he wasn't calling me Mazske, but he was like, Mazske, why are you driving this old car? You're now a veteran officer. You've been here for 10 years. We got brand new guys driving nice pickup trucks.
Yeah.
And I was like, sir, my personal house is almost paid off and I plan to retire within 10 years. You've been here 30 years and you're still working and you're driving a nice car.
You told him that direct? You said it like that way, that direct, just straight to his face? That's not insulting, but that's kind of, that's not insulting, but that's kind of, I would not say that. Let's just say that.
But the guy was a friend of mine, you know, so.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. But anyway, but I've always, even now, I drive a car. It's a 2009 and it has 117,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, I've said my net worth kind of on my channel. I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
I'm an investor. And the one thing I've never upgraded has been my personal car.
It's reasonable. Yeah.
Yeah. But with that being said, once I get several more rental properties and other investments, I may, on my channel one day, I may talk about getting a Tesla or some other type.
Sure. Yeah. I was gonna say, like, even like I know what you're talking about with the frugality, insofar as when I was like 15 and I got my first job, it was in the mall, and you know, and like we're working like 15, 20 hours a week because we're kids, you know, 15 years old. And I remember like every lunch people would go out to get teriyaki or like you know, like some food court food. And like even when I was 15, I just like I could never comprehend that because I'm like, okay, like this food, it costs like $11 and we get paid like $9 an hour. Like like everybody would always do that. They would go out on lunch, they would like sit with their friends, they eat their teriyaki. And I would just I never once did it because it's just like not something that I could like justify to myself. Yeah. So like that frugality has stayed with me all these, like, you know what I mean?
I understand completely because I did the same thing when I was a police officer. I packed my lunch every shift I worked for 20 years. I never bought, not saying I never went through a drive-through line and got like a burger off the dollar menu because I might do that. But every single day I worked, I packed my lunch, and I got in a debate one day with an older officer. He's probably 20 years older than me about buying lunch and packing your lunch. And he took the side that it did not cost any more to eat out for lunch than it did to pack a lunch. And I was like, you're wrong.
What the heck? That's funny. Yeah.
So, but it's one thing with frugality, living below your means. It's not something you can just talk to say all your coworkers, because most of the time they're going to laugh at you or be like, you know, why are you eating that sandwich? We're going to go sit down in such and such restaurant.
Yep, for sure. Like nobody at my work understands why I like work. There's like security guards, there's supervisors, and there's managers. Like the amount of hours I work, I make manager money, and nobody understands why I don't have myself like a Mini Cooper or anything like that. People buy like those like Toyota like 4Runners and stuff like that. And I'm just like, nobody can really understand like why is he here like 7 days a week. Nobody understands. Nobody understands. I'm just like, I'm trying to. My goal is to probably get another rental property before like the interest rates take a dive upward. So that's my goal. I think I could get there. So that's just the goal I have right now.
Right. Yeah. Well, the cool thing, and you'll find this out, the cool thing with rental property is when you first start getting your rent checks in, I know you've run the numbers about, you know, how much your mortgage will be, taxes, insurance, holding money back for expenses.
20%, yeah.
And then you got positive cash flow. My assumption is whatever your positive cash flow is, let's just say it's $250. My assumption is that's not going to go into your pocket, that you're going to go out and eat dinner somewhere. That's going to go in it'll probably go in the bank, right? And just accumulate.
Yeah, or save up for another property as soon as possible.
Right. I think what happens to a lot of investors is once, like say myself, I started with one rental house. It was in January of 2017. In December of 2017, I bought my second rental property. And then in early 2018, I bought my triplex. So I had 5 units at that time. But the more I got, then it was like, I got to buy another. I got to figure out a way to speed it up somehow.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So like the thing that I was thinking about, like, I don't think I could afford like a bad area house where we live, where me and Mike live. But I'm like, if I, in a couple of years, if I am able to get like 1 or 2 properties per year, I could like get into a decent house in a decent area here and then rent out the rooms to my friends. Like that's kind of the goal that I have, rather than like going to get a crappy neighborhood in a horrible, unsafe place. That's kind of my goal right now. It'll be like a supplemental to my income. I'll have both like my earned income and this rental income that I have. I'll go apply for a loan with maybe like 6 properties, 5. I think that's kind of where I'm going with that. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. That's the thing too. You're like, what you're talking about, I call it house hacking.
Yeah.
And that's what Mike does. He has a duplex. He lives on one side, rents out the other side.
Yeah.
And I got a video, another interview on my channel with Robbie. Robbie is my tenant, my triplex. He just bought it from me. So he still lives in the triplex and now he owns the building. So he's house hacking.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, good. So where do you say if you're closing on Monday on your first one, you're going to close on you're probably going to get a second one sometime later this year.
Uh-huh.
But let's say you said you're 24 now?
5.
25.
Yeah.
Let's say, what is your goal in 10 years from now? Where do you see yourself at in 10 years?
10 years, I would like my passive income to have replaced my earned income. So if I make like 60 grand, I would like to be making like whatever that is per month from investments.
All right. That'd be $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right. And the cool thing is, if you earn $60,000 from your paycheck, you have to pay federal tax, state tax, and FICA.
Yep.
If you're earning $60,000 a year from rental property, you're going to pay tax on just a very small amount of all that rent.
Yep. Yep.
So it's pretty cool.
Yep.
Yep. Well, good. And I know you're friends with Mike. I'm friends with Mike. And yeah, and I have a feeling we're going to be communicating a lot more because we do have a mastermind group, and I have a feeling you're going to be part of that group here soon.
And soon. Yeah.
Like very soon.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, cool. And if you mentioned Florida, if you ever want to come down and visit, Mike plans to visit me sometime. You're welcome to come to my house and we can talk investing or go out kayaking or something.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. Yeah. Why'd you move to Florida? That's my question. What got you there?
What got me here?
Yeah, Florida. Why did you decide that?
Well, for a long time, when I was in the Navy for active duty for almost 10 years. I grew up in the state of Maryland. I joined the Navy and went to Illinois, like an hour north of Chicago. I spent a year there. Then I spent 4 months in Denver, Colorado. Then I went to the country of Panama for almost 2.5 years. Then I went to Puerto Rico for 3 years. And then I went up to upstate Maine, up near Canada, for about 2.5 years. And when I knew I was leaving active duty, my wife was kind of like, let's move to Florida. And I was like, I don't want to move to Florida. It's too flat. I want to go to Virginia. I was from Maryland, but I was like, I want to go to Virginia into the mountains. I like the mountains.
Yep.
So I ultimately ended up moving there. It took me a little while because I had to find a job and I got relocated to where I stayed at. But after 23 years of living in the Shenandoah Valley, the mountains are beautiful. I did a lot of hiking up in the Appalachian Trail and that kind of stuff. But as the years passed on, my boys were growing up. They went into the Coast Guard. My wife and I were like, we want to move. Neither one of us are from here, the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia. We want to move south, somewhere where it's warmer. And we started visiting Savannah, Georgia. Then we went to Charleston, South Carolina. We went to Pensacola, Florida, which is up in the panhandle of Florida. We checked out Jacksonville, Florida. And then we took a vacation down to the area I'm in Southwest Florida. And we stayed in an Airbnb and we stood in that backyard. It was on the water. The house didn't have a swimming pool, but we stood there and we're like, this is it. this is the spot we want to be. And because by that time I was in my 50s, I had gotten over my desire to go climbing mountains all the time.
Yep.
I was ready for flatness and the water and the beach and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
So, and then people who don't live in Florida will say, well, it's too hot and humid. The hottest, I spent almost a year here now. The hottest I've seen is 95 degrees. Where I grew up at in Maryland or in Virginia, I saw the temperature hit 100 degrees multiple times over the years.
Wow.
It doesn't hit 100 degrees where I'm at because there's always a breeze. The wind's always blowing. But granted, it does get humid in the summertime. But so what? We have air conditioning.
Yeah, that's good.
You're in Seattle, which is kind of wet and gloomy in the wintertime, I think.
For sure.
If you're in Virginia, my buddy who's in the Shenandoah Valley, they just had 9 inches of snow. It's going to snow again this weekend. When it's that much snow, what do? You stay inside. It's cold. So 2 or 3 months in the summertime, it would be hot and humid here. Maybe we stay inside in the air conditioning, or maybe I go out on my kayak. Maybe we go walk on a beach. Maybe we walk through a jungle trail. So there's options.
It just seems like the movement. I don't know. It just seems like that's the place to go. That's funny. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are thinking that because housing prices have really gone up here. But it's like with anything, as an investor, all you have to do, if you're investing, you get your first rental house and say it gives you that $250 a month, that's $3,000 a year.
Yeah.
You might pick a spot and say your dream is to buy a house that costs $1 billion a year. Okay. What is the mortgage on that house? Say it was $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you have a goal then of making $10,000 a month. Half of that will go towards your personal mortgage, and then you live on the other $5,000.
Yep.
Then you get your dream house.
Yep. That's good stuff.
But then if I came up with that goal, then I would tell myself, well, I need to make a little bit more, maybe $12,000 or $13,000, because I need to take that extra $2,000 or $3,000 to save so I can keep investing it.
For sure. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right. All righty. Well, I think we can wrap this up pretty soon, but
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
Real quickly?
Sure,
Where do you see the Indiana market at the end, like December 2022? What do you think is going to be price point? What do you think is going to be happening insofar as does that make sense?
It does.
You've been there for a while.
I think we're going to see prices continue to go up a bit, not like crazy jumps. But when I first started buying there, I'm going to make a video about it, I think. But when I first started buying there, I got houses that have been renovated for $50,000, $60,000, $45,000. I got one house for $18,000 that an investor had started to renovate, ran out of money. I bought it for 18, put about $6,000 into it, and it's a beautiful house. And it cost me all in, like with closing costs, maybe $24,000, $25,000. So I think those days might be gone, possibly.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I think prices will still be more reasonable in that part of the country for the foreseeable future. Like decades, perhaps.
Okay.
So even if they go up to 80,000, say you bought one at 67, even if the same house next year is 80,000, odds are rents will be $100 more than they are now.
Yeah.
So the numbers will still work.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And there's always, in any market, there's always deals out there. You just got to find them.
That's what I was thinking about Florida, because I've been looking at Florida for like a year, and I've seen the prices go up like some markets like crazy. I'm just like, but there's probably always going to be deals. That's my assumption. Yeah. Even
where I'm at, when I bought this house, I got a good deal on it. I paid $555, which to my eyes was expensive. It was an expensive house. But when I closed on it, my realtor and the listing realtor both told me that if they listed it that day, they would list it for $625. And I was like, well, that's like almost $75,000 more.
Yeah.
But it's been 10 months. And now I'm being told if my house was listed today, it would probably list for $800,000. And they think within 6 months, it may go up to $1 million. And I'm like, how can this house be $1 million?
Yeah.
But people are paying them. People from up north, Boston, New York, they got big bucks. Seattle.
Seattle.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't think those prices will stick. But if this house ever hits $1 million, I don't think that $1 million will stick. But my guess is it won't drop below, say, that 800 range, because this area is just, the growth here is just crazy. People keep moving here.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But with that being said, I have seen in this area houses that would be $250,000 that are a little bit run down. And it's like, if somebody wanted to move here, everyone who moves here wants the pretty house. But all you got to do is buy the beat up house, fix it up.
Yeah.
And then you get a good deal.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Cool. All right. Well, one last thing then, like I always turn it over to my guest and I'll give you the last word. Is there any advice you have to give or anything you want to talk about or any last minute questions or anything?
Some advice that I might give would be continue to like learn about real estate, even if you're not interested in buying it today. If you continue to like, I wouldn't say like necessarily listen to like bigger pockets, but like one that was pretty good for me was like, I think it's financial education. It's like on Spotify, like your channel, like Dion's channel. If you listen to that stuff on a consistent basis, a year from now, you're going to be like way far ahead understanding about how to go about the process than if like, you're like, let me just get the money first. That makes sense. If you have no money today and you're able to like save X amount per year, and then in 2 years, you've been listening and like studying and trying to understand the market, that's going to behoove you way more than just waiting until you get the money. A lot of people I know, they're like, I don't want to do it because I don't have the money yet. I don't want to do it because I don't have the money yet. I think get your head there, and then the money will like, once your head is there, you have a reason why you're doing it. And then you have the money like the length of time later.
That makes complete sense to me. Let me ask this then. You're closing Monday on your first rental house, but when did you first start listening to any real estate channel, or how long's that been?
Like when I was 18, I was like, because I just like see like the world, I guess. And I see like everybody like working, two parents leaving a house in the morning, kids walking home by themselves, parents coming home a couple hours later. I'm just like, I didn't want to do that for myself. And I was like, I don't see how you can like get away from that. And like I looked in like stocks and like all these things. And then the reason I chose real estate for my life was basically because like I'm a fan of appreciation with cash flow. And I think I think that's like a great combination. So I like started like listening to like Grant Cardone when I was like 18. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to like get into real estate unless I have $100,000 to buy, apartment. 16 units is the smallest you can go. But like I started like get away from that stuff and started to look into like more attainable things. And then I was looking at where I live and I was like, nothing here cash flows. So like I might like rents, like I might close on a property like today and like put a renter in it and I might need to cover it with $80. I'm like, how am I going to put like all this money down at 20% at 500K? I was like, I don't see how that's really possible. And I started looking into like different areas of the country. Some places that I was looking at were like Birmingham, which was like the hood. That's where my grandma was from. I didn't like that. And then, I think I started talking to Mike when he had his second property, but I was like, I don't want to like, I was like scared to do it, but I started looking into it, started to like study it a little bit like that. And then like this year I saw the prices in Gary like go up, I'd say like good chunk. And I was like, oh man, I just need to pull the trigger. That's basically what happened. You know what I mean? I've been working. I got this money saved. I was like, I don't want to do it, but I think might as well start today.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. Because I was looking at 3 1s for like 70. And they're not like right there for you, but like I could find one, you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, maybe I could find a better one. Maybe I could find a better one. Maybe. And the next thing I know, like the prices went up and I'm like, oh, they'll probably come down. They didn't come down. I'm like, oh, now I'm buying a 2-1, at 67,
Right. Yeah, but just what you're telling me, it sounds like you're getting a good deal, in the house you
Yeah.
get.
Yeah, it's a decent deal, I would say.
Yeah. Well, good. And I've said it before on my channel, sometimes it's just a matter of jumping in, taking that first step and buying a deal. And if it's a good deal, that's cool because you learn from it and then you move on.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like, it's probably not the best deal. It's not a Mike or a mazske deal, but it's like I'll learn from it. I'll keep it. 10 years from now, it's gonna rent for a lot more than $850, and my mortgage is gonna be locked in at the rate it is. So I don't need to complain. I'll just go buy another one and look for a better deal than this one. That's kind of where I'm at today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. Well, one last question. Who did you go through to get your mortgage?
Prime. I think you're somebody was interviewing Jerry, and he's like, there's a young kid, and he had all this money saved up. He just graduated from college. And I was listening to it, I was like, he's talking about me. It was like 3 weeks ago or a month ago. I was like, yeah, that's definitely me. I was like, Mike, is this me? He was like, it has to be.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry's a good guy, and his assistant Melissa, she's a great person as well.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, cool. All right. Well, we could keep talking, but we got to wrap this up. But once you get your house, you can always come back on my channel in the future, and we'll talk about how it's been going for you.
Okay, sounds good. Mike just texted me. He said, I added you into the group right there. Just that's true. 30 minutes ago, you should read it quick. That's funny.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to say it, but while I was talking to you, a message popped up from another member of the group welcoming you to the group.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah, and that person that just welcomed you, she watches my videos. So Manny, if you watch to the end, I need to get you on my channel. I know you're hesitant to come on my channel, but if Darius is here, the other folks have been here, Manny, it's time for you to come on my channel.
Manny, come on.
There you go. So, all right, Darius, cool. Well, I'm going to wrap this up, all right? But it's been great talking to you, get to know you a little bit.
Yep, thanks.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, for everyone, this is Mazske signing out. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for future interviews. Mazske is signing out.